All right, again, thank you guys for coming out today. Obviously, a lot of excitement for the season opener. Excited to get down to Starkville on Saturday. I've had great preparation leading up to this. We know the challenges that will be faced as we head down to play an SEC opponent, Mississippi State. Obviously, they have a fantastic roster. Coach Leach has done a wonderful job everywhere he's been. Prolific offense. Will Rogers, right, over 75% completion percentage last year, led the SEC in passing. You look at Emmanuel Forbes, ESPN just rated him as one of the top shutdown corners of all the country. They got a lot of veterans playing football. You look at their roster on their two deep on their defense. All their stars on their defense are either graduates or seniors, with the occasional with one junior playing for them, and then obviously a lot of vets on the offensive side. So it's an experienced SEC team. You look at our two deep and you say, wow, young team. I think we have one of the youngest teams in the entire country, with over 70% of our roster actually being redshirt sophomores or younger. So it's going to be an excellent environment, probably one of the loudest environments that a lot of our guys have ever faced. But we're excited for the challenges ahead and look forward to a great week of preparation. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's part of it, right? I mean, it's not a bunch of true freshmen going out there for us on Saturday, but it does help, right? You look at Seth, and again, obviously, almost a full season of experience as a starter. That makes a big difference. A lot of these young guys have played, and some will be getting their first starts. But, yeah, I mean, you got a good mix, right? We also have our mix of some of those grads that have been there and played a lot of football, right? The Quindell Johnsons, the Rodney Owens, guys like that will continue to go out there and play at a high level this season.
So you interned at Brandon Wilson as part of right there, but obviously you dug around there too. So are you pretty comfortable with Jay coming in and understanding some
Yeah, Jay's done a great job. Obviously, Jay got here in January, so he was able to get a whole spring ball practice underneath him, even though he was injured. Jay's very smart, and we know what he's capable of. You know, the proof's been shown in the yards, right? Ran for over 1,000 yards as a freshman at NIU last year, and has been able to show quite well in training camp. And plus, like we've talked about, we still have a bunch of other running backs we're excited about.
Well, you read about him already good looking where he is in depth chart. How quickly was he just able to pick everything up to earn that spot?
Yeah, like I said a few days ago, Cromartie is extremely intelligent, and he's got a great work ethic. So you combine those two, along with extreme athleticism, and that's what's allowed him to climb the depth chart. And it's one of the questions asked. Maybe the experience, maybe in Coach Barnes' defense, that may have helped a little bit. But also at Ohio State, they moved him back and forth from D-line to tight end as well. But Cromartie is one of those young men that came in, really has bought into what we've done, has been all in with the way we do things on and off the field, and it's paid huge dividends for him, and that's why he's going to be able to get the start. Yeah, you might. We never know. If you look out there and you sneak out number 12 out there on a little goal line, maybe he'll be out there, maybe some short yard stuff.
What's the most surprising thing about
Yeah, I think, anytime you have, and this is college football in general, right? There's 30, and I throw this stat out, it's roughly 33% roster turnover throughout college football. It's how do those guys mesh? How do they mold? How do they learn the offense? How do they learn the defense, special teams? How does that all do? But what I think is we truly have a team of guys that care about one another. They're out there with the single mindset of going to win football games. And that's part of the challenges, right? Hey, you want this guy to learn the offense. You want these guys to learn the schemes, the X's and O's, but how are we truly as a team? And what's gotten lost in translation over the last few years is it's about individuals, it's about transfers, it's about NIL. Well, how are we as a team? And I really like this group, right? In 7 years here, I think these guys bond well together, they work well together. And so that was one of those pleasing things, because every head coach in the country is saying, well, if all of a sudden I bring in all these transfers, I do this, are they going to get along? Are they still going to buy into the culture that we've been able to create here? And that's been the biggest and the most, not surprising thing, but one of the most pleasant things to be able to come out of camp.
Well, the last guys last week, a couple of said that they felt disrespected after last year, that this is like physical camp, they've never been more here. You feel that kind of collective chip on our shoulder mentality in that locker room?
Well, I would like to know which ones thought this was the most physical camp of all time, but no, I think that's the mentality of a lot of people from Memphis, right? The 901, we take a lot of pride, and we always say, hey, the grit and grind that we've thrown out before, but I want our guys to always feel like the underdog mentality, right? I mean, maybe that's just because that's the way their head coach is, but I firmly believe that our guys always want to feel underappreciated. Let's go out there and work and earn everything we get. And that's what I appreciate about their approach is there's none of this, right? And we talked even last year, right? We were 3-0. There was none of this. Oh, we're great. We haven't accomplished anything. And so I want our guys to go out there and earn every single day. Guess what? Today is an off day for them. They better earn it academically. They better earn it with the way they're taking care of their bodies, their rest. And guess what? Tomorrow for a Tuesday practice, same deal. So if they take that approach, the score usually takes care of itself on a Saturday.
Is your left tackle position was first?
Look, credit to McKyle Pounders, right? I mean, he's worked his tail off to be able to get where he is. Obviously, we know he's a very talented young man from the state of Mississippi. But, look, the nice thing is we've been able to have Austin Myers has been able to play some of that. Austin was able to start at left tackle for us last year. That position flexibility by Austin has allowed McKyle to go up there and step up and compete. Obviously, we've had some different guys, in and out of the rotation, but it has been an open competition. He did a great job. Yeah, no, I think you got a lot of confidence. Like I've told you guys, like this is one of those, like we got confidence in the number of guys that they can play in our secondary, and that's great. That's always a good problem to have. I wish, you never want to say we got 6,000 oars, right, lining up, but I do think that's one of those great things. And plus, we'll see, right? We know what kind of offense that Mississippi State is. We'll kind of see where those guys flow. So I don't want, post game, hopefully after victory, you're saying, well, this guy was listed as starter, but this guy played 25%, this guy played 25%, so that's why we put all those R's on there. Rodney's doing a great job. He's one of the leaders of our team and has been bought in, so he's doing well.
I don't know where you're going to get a matchup like this. You've got a great one, and obviously a lot of side. What makes you so good in that kind of offense?
Yeah, Will's, first off, he's got the stature that's fit perfectly for that offense, right? He's athletic, he's big, he's got a strong arm, he's smart. But that scheme, right, he gets it, he understands. And you always hear about the growth of the quarterback. You guys have all asked often about Seth Hennigan's growth, right, from year 1 to year 2. Now all of a sudden you talk about Will Rogers going to year 3 underneath that Mike Leach system. And so he has a great understanding of where the football should go, right? If his first read's done, his second read now, he knows to hit his running back and his check down. So Will is one of those guys that has a great understanding. I think that's why his completion percentage is so high, because he's going to take what the defense gives him. He's been productive. Obviously, I'm always going to be in Seth's corner and have his back. So you're exactly right, but it's a week 1 matchup of some fantastic quarterbacks.
This is the first time in a while that Memphis started this. I guess since you've been here, does that change? Like, what's the difference in starting on the road after starting at home?
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have so many home starts, but then what the schedule calls for it did, and so that just means we got to hear cowbells for about 5 more days, and that's about the only difference. Our guys will be dialed in and focused. There are some distractions as you go on the road, right? Whether it's staying in a hotel, getting in a bus, and making that travel down. Right, we know the atmosphere and what kind of atmosphere it's going to be down there in Starkville. So that's the nature of it, but we're welcome to the challenge, right? That's just part of college football. And a lot of coaches say, well, I don't want to do that. Guess what? The bigger, the better the environment, the more exciting it is. And I think our guys are going to take that bull by the horns and be quite excited about it.
Does it help you got a couple of guys from that area on the rest?
I don't know if it makes a difference, really. To be honest with you, it doesn't matter if we go play this game on the moon. I think our guys will have the same mindset and approach. Yeah, I think that chemistry is a huge part of offensive line play, right? And I've said this from even 5 years ago, 6 years ago, is you never want to have a constant rotation in there, but we've been able to move guys around a little bit. But the communication is going to be key, right? We know the environment they're going to be in, being able to see things, be able to communicate. And it all starts with the center, a guy like Jacob Likes, who's got the experience. And so that's been good as we add pieces like McKyle Pounders, a young tackle, and move Austin Myers around, some of those other guys. Right, I think the communication key has got to be number one. Those little things, right? Being able to see things. Mississippi State's a heavy pressure team, so we got to be prepared for everything they could bring.
When you bring that up, is that what are you suggesting when you say that?
I'm saying we got to, I've said this all along. We're building the roster the right way. And everybody say, well, why would you ever need to rebuild the roster? College football has completely changed. And we've got a lot of faith in the way we're doing things here. And that just shows, I mean, look, great. We got great vets. And those are our leaders, right? The vets, obviously, Seth's a younger guy. But I just think it's unique because the way this thing is growing, right? And whether we're talking recruiting or not, like I've said before, what's on paper has been back-to-back best recruiting class in program history. That's the majority of the roster you're sitting there looking at. Those guys, and a lot of them are playing. And so the fruits of the labor of our staff and those people is coming to fruition. We'll be able to see it on Saturday. But it doesn't mean I'm just showing you that we've got some youth, but we're excited not only right now, but about the future of what we're doing. Yeah, I think we do that week in and week out. Absolutely. I mean, the furthest travel game we'll have during the regular season will actually be to Navy the following week. So not a whole lot changed, but now you look at it, the bus ride may be the exact same amount of time. If we're in a bus for 2.5 hours, right, may no different. But we do try to keep it the same. The biggest thing is making sure our guys are handling their business this week. But we try to keep a regular schedule throughout the whole season. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think first and foremost, Jarvis, is our guys don't and have not talked about last season's game. It's a different roster. It's a different team. It's a different environment. So credit to our guys. Our guys are 100% focused on this game. We have not one time, other than film review, talked about last year's game because it has zero relevance to what's going to occur right now. Now, our guys do have confidence, and it goes back to earlier just saying whether it's the chip on the shoulder, whatever you want. Our guys have that want to, the desire, and the wherewithal to understand that they're going to do whatever it takes to go out there and get the win on Saturday. Yeah, Chris, first and foremost, has earned the job. He's done a great job. And then David Kemp's dealing with an injury. So, we'll see how we monitor that as the season goes on. I think anybody with an injury is concerning, right, this day and age in college football. But you hope he's okay. Yeah, I'm not getting myself into trouble with compliance or NCAA talking about spreads and all that stuff. But whatever guess what? That's what the experts believe. Our guys are going to go out there whether we're favored or not and bring everything we have. So look, there's plenty of motivation. There needs to be this isn't going to be a win-win for the Gipper motivational speech or extra inspiration. Our guys will be plenty fired up and ready to get down there. So the loudest environment I've ever been part of as a coach is actually in the NFC Championship in the Superdome versus the Saints. Okay, and it was deafening. We had Brett Favre then. It was the game that went to overtime, 5 turnovers. They also got in trouble for Bounty Gate. That was one of those games that led to it. And we actually practiced with headphones in our own deals just to try to black out the noise. I'm sure it's going to be a very similar environment. They've got a great fan base and they do a great job. And those cowbells, I'm not going to use the word annoyance. I'll leave that up to you. But look, they've done a heck of a job creating an environment there. But I think our guys are excited about it. They know what's in stake. It's not like, oh my gosh, we're going to have to deal with this noise. We've practiced in it. Hopefully we can go down there flawlessly and not let it be an issue.
That's an acquired thing.
So it's like when I go to bed at night and I can't sleep and I hear my dog clawing at the door. It's called white noise. So I just crank up the volume and just try to ignore everything else. So. Absolutely. I cannot wait to look up. Hopefully they put them in the front row, but I doubt that's going to happen. I know they'll be hospitable, but I look forward to seeing a huge sea of blue. Obviously, we're going to have some of our fans and our band down there, which will be fantastic. So we're excited about that. Look, our fans are great, so I expect them to be able to bring the noise. They don't need the cowbells. They'll just be yelling. Maybe it'll be a good environment for us as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every week one game is exciting. I don't care who you are, what you're playing. Everybody gets excited, whether it's a week 0 game, whatever the heck it looks like. Everybody is fired up because college football's back. And if your blood's not flowing and the hair on the back of your neck's not standing up, something's wrong with you. But the nature of this game, let's call it what it is. This is a big game, and we understand that. We understand going down and playing Starkville versus an SEC opponent. We understand the rivalry, right? I mean, and we don't talk about what happened in the past, but look, this is huge. But our guys are going to treat it like any other game. I can't sit there and say, okay, guys, we're playing a huge game. No, let's go out there and play to the best of our capabilities. We're going to keep our head down for 60 minutes or however long they ask us to play this football game, and hopefully we'll like the end result. But I think our guys have had the right mindset and approach. It's been phenomenal to see their focus and what they want to accomplish, throughout this season. But it's a one game at a time approach. I did catch a little week 0. You always want to educate, and I'm sorry, some of you guys are gonna be sad here. I'm actually getting off of social media for the next 6 months, which is good. But so at night I can just read books and try to focus on what I need to focus on myself. It's no different than anybody else. But one of the things you watch week 0, right? You watch the Vanderbilt Hawaii game. Part of that tide turned early in the first quarter because of turnovers. You watch the Nebraska Northwestern game. We actually showed clips of that 2-minute situation where Nebraska was going down the field. It was 1:46, and their wide receiver lined up on the wrong side of the ball. They had to motion him over. There was some confusion. They actually had 2 wide receivers off the ball. The guy that came in motion actually had to step on the ball, so it actually became a shift, which may could have been called for an illegal shift. They run the play, pick, game over. And so you talk about situational football. The more you can educate your guys on things they see, yes, there's some entertainment value. Happy for Coach Norvell and Florida State and their win versus Duquesne. But reality, for me, it's an educational standpoint. You get to see all the things that maybe it's a sneak preview for the way things are. And then we can show our guys, right? We actually showed them, I'm not going to mention the high schools. There's a high school team that played on national television, and the guy dropped the ball 3 yards before the end zone. And I said, guys, remember that? I showed you guys that last year from a guy doing it. And then, so you're just trying to constantly educate our guys on things that occur in the game.
Back that you're starting to how is that, I guess, affected preparation, even from the moment the schedule came out to also the last few weeks? There's not many teams in the country that are probably starting.
Yeah, when the schedule came out, I did want to say, who do I need to go talk to about this? But no, it's neither here nor there, right? You can't complain about the schedule. We are focused on this week, but we understand playing back-to-back away games and obviously completely different offenses, completely different schemes. We understand those are creating challenges, but right now we can do no worry. I'm not going to think about the Naval Academy other than this conversation until Sunday. And then Sunday, guess what? That's all I'll be thinking about, and I won't even remember what happened that Saturday before other than some lessons that we can learn and hopefully in a positive mindset. But it's part of the nature of the game, right? We're not going to sit here and say, well, gosh darn, that's unfair. No, hey, let's go play next man up mentality. And our guys understand that, and we appreciate it. But really, I mean, the reality, we can do nothing about what lies ahead. Let's just focus on this week. There's not.
Well, I want to ask you a question about Jalen. We talk about guys who can move around. There's a lot of times we talk about offensive weapons, but Jalen is one of those defensive weapons. How does that benefit your offense having a guy like that?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Allen, you talk about his explosiveness, his intelligence, the way he's able to move all around, right? Since he's been here, you think about the defensive schemes he's played in, right? This is now his 3rd defensive scheme. And so to the young man's credit, he's lined up as a defensive end, an outside linebacker, an inside linebacker, a pass rush specialist, being able to do all those different things. You look at his career, I think he's only started 5 games. But he's been a name that people, Memphis Tiger fans say, man, Jalen Allen's been here for a little bit and had some production. He really has. This will be his first year getting a full year of starting. And I think the sky's the limit for him. And being able to move him around, you're exactly right. He is a weapon for us. He's a defensive weapon. Plus, what I love about Jalen Allen, he's a 242-pound young man that says, hey, let me play some special teams. So he's been remarkable. He's also one of our leaders. So it's just been special having him around.
Several new faces on both sides of the ball. How different will this role finish like?
Yeah, I think it's going to look very different, and I think that's. And I don't mean to keep saying this, guys. I think it's just college football, right? I mean, we can sit here and say, "Man, we hope," but with that way, it's a completely looking different team from a roster standpoint, but then also with the coordinators. We are going to see things that our fans have never seen before when they turn on the television or hopefully in the stands in Starkville say, wow, that looks like a different Memphis football team. And that's good, right? We're not going to sit there and be hey, this is what we've always been. How can we continue to be creative, change up the way we do things, offensively, defensively, even with the same special teams coordinator? We've got to change things up. How do we get better? Because, right, records aside, we've always got to push to get better and improve, and I think that's the direction we're heading in.
How different a coach do you think you are today? Coach that confident.
Yeah, I certainly hope I've improved. I really have. I mean, just from my standpoint, you sit there and you always have to look at things from a macro level, right? And then when I'm up there watching the film, sometimes it's micro level. You're looking at every fine detail of everything you can. But from now understanding what our program, the direction we want to have, having this vision and be able to put it in place, especially with the ever-changing ways, I feel like I've improved. And part of it is, hey, how are we handling the way we practice? How am I handling the conversations with players? How are we doing schematically, right? Hey, this is an idea that I have that I remember from 17 years ago. Now I feel a little more comfortable saying, hey, this is something we can do. When you're a new head coach, sometimes you're like, man, well, that I hired that guy to be the decision maker, but now maybe you have this is a little bit of now the vet. Plus on our staff, I'm one of the older guys, so it's pretty crazy how that works. So you have to, you feel more comfortable being able to put your own wisdom on things.
With receivers, you mentioned you're probably about 6-7 guys. Notice the skate of the team, but is he someone you think is probably going to have a role in this game? Probably two, with Gabe Robinson as a third, and how do you say about the strength of this group that those guys who started last year are back now?
Yeah, and I've said it, even right after the season, a lot of you guys said, well, what will be different? And, I think we've got depth at wide receiver. I'm not saying this is no knock on our previous rosters, but I feel like we've got really strong depth. One, Joe Skates will certainly play. I think, we're going to be able to line up and have a wide variety of wide receivers. And so Joe Skates definitely will have a role in this offense and this Saturday. And then with that being said, I do think it speaks volumes about the depth that we have, right? The fact that we can sit there and say, okay, here's who we have. But, right, the Javon Iries, the Gabe Rogers, and the Eddie Lewises have all played significant football for us. And it is nice to say, okay, hey, these guys, the first three out, right, whether we line up with 12 personnel or 10 personnel, at least the first three out, they've played a lot of football in Memphis.
You're still proud of the confidence with all these guys inside.
Absolutely. Yeah, feel very confident in this.